welcome to this week's episode of the Niche Website Builders Website Investing Show. I am on my own right now. I'm expecting, there he is, Mark, to join me any second. Who's there? There he is. Just in time. Mark just literally jumped off another call, so he just dived on right at the last second. So welcome to this week's show. We've got an excellent show. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the initial data from our data project that we've been talking about for ages. But before we do that, Mark, how's your week going? I mean, it's only Tuesday. You having a good week so far? Been busy?
I am, yeah. I am. I'm in my new house, my new office. So it looks kind of the same. I've moved the plants around. Don't show Tony that plant. It's like it did not travel well, and the removal people were a bit slapdash. So
it was already dying anyway, wasn't it? Didn't Tony say it was dying anyway?
Only the front leaves. It was very healthy, I have you know. But yeah, no, it's doing good. But yeah, we moved Thursday last week. It's 3 days full unpacking, and still got unpacking to do. It's just with a lot of kids and 17 years in the last house. It's all built up. So yeah, but it's nice to be in our new house. Kids are loving it. Nice to be in where we are in the world, which is more where we want to be in the world, more in the country. So
from my experience, if it's anything like me, you'll be living out of boxes for the next year anyway. Like there'll be boxes you won't unpack for at least a year. You'll just be put in the room somewhere and you'll go in and get them now and again.
Probably, yeah. We were speaking to someone the other day, didn't they? And they said they've still got 7 boxes and they were in there 10 years or something. So yeah, maybe that's the case. But no, it's good. It's good to be all set up and good to have some new surroundings. So yeah. How about you?
Yeah, good. Yeah, not too bad. I haven't really done too much this week. I've hurt my leg in the gym. Serves me right. I mean, I started to go back to the gym. I had 3 sessions, and I feel like I've pulled a muscle in my leg. So I'm not going back anymore. That's it. My gym career is over. 3 sessions. 3 sessions, and I'm not going back. But no, it's good. I hope it's better by tomorrow because we're meant to be going to a concert tomorrow. Going to see, and this may not be for everyone. Pete Tong Ibiza Classics performed with an orchestra.
Nice. That'd be awesome, actually. I'll be all up for that. That sounds great.
Yeah, although we watched some videos last night on YouTube of like the concert before, and the guy that sings, the guy from Faithless, that sings like Insomnia, he's on the stage actually singing, and honestly, he looks so old. It's like your granddad's on the stage now.
Really? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh,
so I don't know.
Faithless, I love that. They were awesome.
Yeah. Oh. But all right, before we get into it, let's do some housekeeping stuff. So don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, especially if you are new around here. If you can't see in Mark's background, we are growing the channel nicely. We're at 2.7 something, 4.27.
4.27.
Yeah, a bit blurry in the background. But the more people we can get to like and subscribe to the channel, the more we can keep doing this and kind of just share everything. The whole ethos of these lives is to kind of share our knowledge and information and stuff. So it's beneficial. If we get to 35 likes, then we'll do a giveaway. Mark is very nicely demonstrating one of our t-shirts there. I can see the hat in the background, the cap as well. We've also got mugs and Matrix style, all kinds of stuff like that. So if you want to be in with a chance of winning something, then we need to get to 35 likes. Also, we've launched our digital PR service. It's going insanely well. We'll probably talk about that. We've got a couple of digital PR live streams coming up soon, but this is the exciting one. It's Black Friday. It's Black Friday this week and next week. So if you've been thinking about getting some content for your website, now is the time to load up all of our content packages. So that's just content or age domains or done for you sites. They all come with 20% free additional content now. And we're also running some Black Friday offers on our digital PR service. So if you sign up, you get 5% off your monthly subscription. If you sign up for 3 months and you get and pay for 3 months up front, you get 7.5% off. And if you sign up and pay for 6 months up front, you get a whopping 10% off. So if you're interested in any of our services, coupons and links should be in the description below. And on to the show. Talk about the results for the our data study, which, in all honesty, took a long time to pull together. Hopefully you'll see why. It's not finished by a long shot, but it's a long time to pull this data together. We could have scraped stuff. I see there's a couple of people out there now offering like databases of this stuff where they've just scraped publishers that are in Ezoic and Mediavine and stuff, and things like that. The difference between kind of what they've done and what we've done is we've gone through all of the sites individually. So they've got like, I don't know, 20,000 sites in there or 15,000 sites in there, but they're not all content and affiliate sites. They've literally just gone and scraped everything that has a display ad on there. And that could be a brick and mortar site, an e-commerce site. We've gone through our database and cleaned it up and looked at only sites that are affiliate or content sites. So they're very specific to basically what we do. That's it, basically. And that's what took a long time, is opening them up, looking at them, trying to put a niche to them. The data, grabbing the data side was the breeze. It's the manual side of it that took a little bit of time. And I'm going to share my screen and kind of run through a little bit of I guess Say's presentation is literally like 2 slides. But the whole premise of this is we analyzed at this point almost 5,000 content sites, and mainly the whole the reason why we did this was to answer one main question, and it's a question as a service provider we get asked a lot, especially from new people coming into the space, is if I want to get to $1,000 a month or $5,000 a month or $10,000 a month, what do I need to do? Like, how much effort do I need to put in? How much time, how much money, how many pieces of content, what kind of link building, etc. And because each site is different, it's been really hard to answer that. And up until a couple of months back, our answer was always, well, you just need to keep adding good quality content. You need to keep doing link building, and eventually you'll get to these different milestones. And I mean, it works. And if you've been through the process a couple of times, you're comfortable with that. You're comfortable that, yeah, that process does work. But if it's your first time, or you're looking for a more, financially sound answer, that doesn't really cut it. So we thought, how can we answer this question? And the answer was by looking at what's the averages across 5,000 sites. And we'll show the data in a bit, but the main takeaways from this are, this data set now starts to go a long way to answering that question. So if you want to get to $1,000, what does that look like in terms of link profile requirements? And what does that look like in terms of number of pieces of content? And we'll be adding to the database as we go along. But essentially, it answers that fundamental question. And it's all based on averages. Obviously, there's sites in there that overperform and underperform. And, just because you do get to the same kind of link building status and the same number of posts doesn't guarantee that you're going to get to that kind of revenue level, because again, they all perform differently, and some perform better and some perform worse, but it gives you a basis and it gives you a roadmap on average of what it takes to get there. Some of the other kind of byproducts which were great from this was it allows us to do kind of really cool niche research and uncover like sites are doing really well. So we can filter this list now by sites with a really low DR and really low number of pages, but a high number of traffic. And we can like, okay, well, what niche are they in, and what are they doing differently, and why are they basically these anomaly sites? Why are they massively outperforming the average? And we can start looking at that and trying to understand, what are they doing differently, and what are they doing a good job of, and why does Google like them, and try and put some kind of context on that. We can also use it to uncover sub-niches that we'd never considered before. And I launched a new site a couple of months back based off this, and it's doing really well. And I would have literally never thought of this sub-niche. I was like, what is this thing? I did the same kind of filter, low DR, low number of pages, high number of traffic, and a sub-niche of a much bigger niche come up. I was like, I've never heard of this before. And when I looked at the SERPs, there's like 2 other websites covering it. But those websites are getting a couple of 100,000 visitors a month. I was like, this is a no-brainer. There's just nobody covering this kind of thing. And then we can use it for tomb raiding, obviously. And if you don't know what tomb raiding is, we've got tons of videos on our tomb raiding kind of methodology. But before we get on to that, anything I missed out there, Mark? I feel like I've done a ton of talking now. My voice is really dry.
No, it's fine. We've got a couple of questions though already. So, are these 5K content sites under your agency or just random sites on the net?
Yeah, so they're not under our agency. These are just 5,000 sites that are either a content site. We mean like a content site that's displayed with, it's purely being made to create revenue from display ads. So it's, informational based websites, that kind of stuff. Or it's an affiliate based website, most of them promoting Amazon, that kind of thing. So They're just those types of websites. These are definitely not 5,000 sites that we built.
Will the data be available to the public? Yeah.
A subset of it will. I mean, the actual list of the niches of the websites won't be available to the public. In all honesty, because it's our secret sauce now. It's what gives us a competitive advantage. If you want us to work on a website with or for you, then we can use this database for our advantage. But we'll be sharing like the high level kind of table overview and maybe a little bit about what you can select which niche and see what the requirements are by niche, but we won't be sharing the actual list of URLs.
Yeah. Hang on, sorry. How did you find and filter the sites?
Yeah, a lot of manual process. So the first thing we did was define what our niches should be, like our core niches that we wanted to look at, and from there we started just doing like our traditional what we would do for like tomb raiding SEO, tomb raiding keyword research. We looked at what are the head terms in that space, put them into Ahrefs and SEMrush, looked at what the websites were, pulled that list out, looked at what the competitors for them guys were, pull that list out, looked at what the competitors of the competitors were and pull those out. And we built the first 2,500 that way. And then after we did that, we found a way to look at all the sites that were monetized with Ezoic, Mediavine, AdThrive, and Monumetric. And that was the hard part then, because we pulled all those out and it gives us a big list. But of that list, there was a ton of rubbish in there. There was a ton of sites. There was, might be news-based websites, which might have 300,000 pieces of content because they've put out 5 new news pieces a day, or there's brick and mortar websites in there. And from there, we just removed everything that wasn't an affiliate site or a content site. So it's taken us about 3 months, I think, maybe slightly longer, to get that list all the way down to this kind of core list, which is about 5,000. Ideally, we want it to end. We think we can, with the data we've got, we can clean up that data a bit further and end up with about 10,000. But this is the clean 5,000 that we've got to start with.
Yeah. Cool. So Fruitback Cat says, gives me a headache just thinking about that. Analyzing that many sites. Glad you did it for me. Yeah.
Credit to Elena as well. So Elena's on our Thursday stream with us. She's helped massively with this. The pair of us have been working quite hard on this. And in all honesty, lots of it is a bit mind-numbing. It's great for an afternoon session where you've done lots of stuff in the day, in the morning, and your brain's a bit frazzled, and then you have to go in and you have to open up websites and categorize the niche. And is it a content site? Is it an affiliate site? It's been a lot of that kind of stuff. But yeah, shout out to Elena for helping us with that kind of stuff. Yeah. This is a great question, Daniel. So did you also look into the time frame it took to get where they are? We are trying to pull that data in, but it's actually quite hard to do that at scale. So the one way we're looking at doing that is date registered, when the domain was registered. And we have that data, but there's some anomalies in there. It works for like 80% of them, but there's the 20% that doesn't look to be correct when you look at, the date registered says it was registered 6 months ago, but when you look at the URL in Ahrefs, it's had traffic for 3 years, for example. So like that one is going to take a little bit more time. I think if we wanted to do a quick job, we could get an average of that based on like 80% of it being right. But we haven't added that in yet because I've got a couple of other ideas on how I think we can maybe narrow that down and get that 20% right. But for now, it doesn't look at the actual time. And in all honesty, the other thing about time is time is an important factor for lots of sites, but depending on the velocity and scale you go at, you just have to look at our Beast case study update where we smashed on 1,000 posts and we're going to do 2,000 by the end of the year. It's already getting 400 or 500 visitors a day. Like time, if you execute the plan right, doesn't have to be 3-4 years. So time is nice to have, and it'll be in there when we get that. But time, I think, comes secondary to what does the link profile look like and how many pieces of content you have.
Yeah. Cool. Loads of questions here already. So this is good.
Yeah, awesome.
So this one, Phil, it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, I'll show you. I'll show you. It's on the other tab, basically.
We're nearly there. We're nearly there. We just answer a few more questions. How do you know how much the site is earning if it's not from your agency? Does Ahrefs tell you about that?
Yeah, great question.
Do you want to go answer it, actually? Yes.
Yeah, I'll just cover quickly now, and we'll go into a little more detail. But the way that and it's an estimate, so we can never really tell. You're 100% right. Like, we don't know the exact earnings from this, but we look at what's the traffic that Ahrefs tells us, and then we look at how much that website would make if it was making an RPM or an EPMV of $25 from display ads. And Ahrefs always kind of underperforms or underestimates what the traffic is, typically, not always, but mostly. So it's almost like a pessimistic view. You can say that we've taken the number, we've done it on a $25 EPMV, which we got that number by looking at what my average EPMV for the last 12 months were from my portfolio of websites, and it's $25. And that's where we kind of came up with that estimate for revenue. The one thing which I will touch on that as well is, and I'm not sure where they're at with it, but Ezoic at one point were looking at they've got their ad index revenue, which tells you kind of how much, what the revenue looks like in terms of where it is seasonality. They were looking at doing something like that on a per niche basis. You could see kind of what the average revenue was by niche. If and when they launch that would be awesome, because then we can match that up to the niches that we've got, and we can give a specific kind of, some niches have a higher RPM or EPMV and some have a lower one, and we can kind of make the data set better. But for now, we've just estimated they're all the same.
Yeah. No problem. So I think we have one more question, which isn't specific. Tarzan, we'll come back to this at the end if that's okay, because it's kind of off topic, but we'll come to this at the end with all the other questions. If that's all right.
Yeah. Awesome. So I guess just quickly then, like, obviously why we would analyze these sites, but a couple of the other offshoots that have come from this is, now that we've got this data, we can start benchmarking like projects. So, when we get to X DR rating or X number of pieces of content, are we performing above or below the average? And you can do the same thing if you are thinking of buying a website as well. So, if the website's listed for sale, you can compare the metrics to, the metrics that we've collected. And you can say, well, in this case, the website I'm buying is actually overperforming the average, or it's underperforming, which is the opportunity. And where is it underperforming? So maybe you've got more than enough content, but you look and you say, well, actually, based on the data, I need more link building. And that gives you an idea on kind of where to focus your efforts, which is kind of the next point. It does really help you kind of lay out a roadmap of where you should focus and where you need to go. And when we have a look at the data, there's some interesting trends, i.e. to get from one band into the next, sometimes you need to concentrate more on link building than content, and sometimes you need to concentrate on content rather than link building. So it kind of gives you this roadmap, because going from 10,000 to 30,000 visits is totally different than going from 30,000 to 300,000 in terms of what's actually required from a website. So without further ado, this is, and can I make this bigger? If I put it like that and I zoom in a bit, how does that look? Maybe 1, 2.
If you go full screen on YouTube, you can see it. Okay,
so this is the data essentially, and I've hidden a couple of things in here. I've hidden column A, which is the URL, and we've got the niche, the number of pages. So this is the number of kind of posts that the website has, the domain rating, the traffic, and again, this number of pages comes from Ahrefs. This domain rating is obviously an Ahrefs metric. The traffic comes from Ahrefs. And then from there, we put them into bandings. So this site gets between 50 and 150,000 visitors per month. And you'll notice of the niches that they're not all filled out. And we've got around 3,000 of the 5,000 sites in here, around 3,000 of them have niches associated. We're still working through adding in the other 2,000 niches, but I mean, we wanted to share this data essentially. So it's still a work in progress, but we've got just over half of them have niches associated with them. And then this is the bit which you've probably been waiting for, which is this up here is all the sites combined, and these are the bandings. So these are sites that get between 10 and 25,000 monthly visitors, according to Ahrefs. On average, they have a DR of 29, and on average, they have 289 pieces of content. The average Ahrefs traffic is 2,300, and based on a $25 EPMV, they're making around $300 per month. And then same for the 25 to 50K banding. So essentially, average in here is 12,000, 33,000, 91,000, 193,000, and so on, all the way up to sites that are making, on average, roughly $20,000 per month. And down here in this table, we've got the niche specific. So in this case, we can select food, and this changes, and this shows all of the same bandings, but just the food websites. And there's so far 615 food websites in there, or in the travel space, there's 330, and that data changes. And this will become more accurate as we fill out all the rest of the niches, essentially. But for me, this is cool because for two reasons. One is now we've kind of got a roadmap in that, all right, if you want to get to $1,000 a month, $992, on average across all the niches, you need to get to a DR35 and you need to get to 383 pieces of content. And I guess just to back up a little bit, the other way to preface this is lots of the sites that we've looked at here are, lots of them are just like passion projects. Like lots of these sites, especially in like certain niches, especially like the food space and stuff, they've got massive amounts of people in the space that have just been blogging for like 10 years and they've just put out content with no real focus on SEO. There's sites in here which have got a focus on SEO. But for me, the exciting part is like that average includes people that are SEO focused and people that are not SEO focused. So if you set this as your target, once you get there, you should be, if you create the site with an SEO focus, you should be doing well. You should be beating the average essentially, or at least at the average, because you've got all those other sites that started passion projects, not really looking at it from an SEO perspective, coming in there as well. The other interesting thing for me was this average traffic per post, and I've seen so many different answers to how much traffic each post should get. I mean, you've got income schools saying you should be getting a couple of hundred visits per post that you create, and I've seen other people say, what their targets are for pieces of content. And the takeaway point here for me is that at the beginning, it's hard to get a high average traffic, average visitors per post to your website, because your site's not considered like authoritative. And I think this whole thing comes down to, as you move up in terms of DR and content, your site becomes more authoritative, becomes an authority site in the space, and Google starts to give it more trust and more credence, and then starts to rank all of the content better rather than just individual pieces of content. And that for me is an opportunity, because if you stop when your site's only making $1,000 a month, like you're leaving money on the table. Like, why wouldn't you carry on and build an authority site where you can benefit from having more average visitors per month on a per post basis?
I think it's really it's good to put it on the traffic, but to put it into the pure numbers and the pure what your earnings are there. If you look at that 25 to 50K, to get to $1,000 a month, you need a DR35 and 383 pages, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
But to 3x that and to get to nearly 3,000, you need 605 pages, so only 2/3 of what you already produced again to 3x that, and a DR42. So it's only 7 DR points higher.
Yeah.
But again, step up from that to get the next one up is 6,000. So you almost 6x'd your initial, but you've only doubled the amount of content. So you need 807 pieces of content instead of 383. So you've doubled the amount of content, but you 6x the revenue. Of course, you've gained 11 DR points in that, but that's not insurmountable.
Yeah.
Getting to a DR46 from a 35 isn't something that's impossible to achieve. It's well within doing it. So yeah, just to put it another way, like it just shows, like in terms of pure monetary terms, it seems that the more content you create, the more effort you put in, the amount of you earn per effort point or per page or whatever it goes up, right?
Yeah, definitely, massively. And when we started looking at kind of like return on investment, if you to outsource all this kind of stuff, the highest return obviously is at the highest level because of that. Because of that, essentially, the deeper you go and the bigger you make the site into, what you would consider an authority site, the higher the return is going to be. Because, and we've all, like, well, I don't know if we've all seen it, but you've probably at least heard about it, where you get to the point of a website where you publish a piece of content and it's ranking on page one within a day or two. Like, that's what those authority sites, that's kind of the level they're at. And that's why I think they've got, on average, more traffic per post than sites at the smaller level. And then obviously, like I talked about, in terms of using this as a guide, if you were to buy a website, say, for example, you were looking at a website that was making $1,000 a month, and it had 400 pieces of content, but it was only a DR20. You could then say, okay, well, it's making 1,000. I want to get to the next level. Then that next level being the 2,500, 2,700 mark. In that case, you've only got to put 200. I say only, it is a lot of content, but you've only got to put 200 posts on there then to go from your 400 pieces of content, your 600 pieces of content. And then most of the effort then needs to be spent on backlinking to go from your DR20, because you're underperforming already, and try and get up to a DR42. So you can start to build solid kind of roadmaps around this. We had one client recently that came to us and said, "Oh, I'm at a crossroads. I've got a website, it's doing really well, but kind of traffic has plateaued. Like, what do I do?" And we looked at kind of where we were in terms of these averages, and she had more than enough content. If you looked at it in terms of content, she had enough pieces of content to be at the next rung, but what was missing, or what was lacking massively, was domain rating, was link building. And so instantly she signed up for one of our digital PR packages, and now that's the focus now for the next couple of months, because she knows she's got enough content. She knows the content's good because she's written lots of it herself, and she's kind of an expert in that space. But she was really lacking on the link building side of things. She was really lacking on the domain rating. So that kind of just instantly in her mind was like, oh, well, that's the plan. Like, I don't need to guess anymore. I don't need to guess, oh, should I keep adding content? Is that the issue? Oh, link building's hard. If I just keep adding content, then maybe I'll get there. Like, she had the answer there and then based on data, and it made the decision a lot easier for her. And I think that's the cool thing about this.
Yeah, it's job done, isn't it? In terms of like what we're trying to achieve to a certain extent. Yeah, it's awesome. I've got loads of questions though.
So, add them.
Let's go through them. Plowing through them. Have you dived deeper into sites? Oh no. So I guess, yeah.
Have you dived deeper into the sites and the pages that get traffic? Is it a 20-80% rule where 20% of the pages? Yeah. So only a couple of them, when we've started looking at what niches and sub niches seem to be working well. And most websites conform to that 80-20 rule. Like, almost every website, if it's of a decent size, most websites have got a couple of hundred pieces of content. You'll find that 80% of the traffic is coming from 20% of the pages. It's just one of those natural laws that seem to happen. There are exceptions from out there where the traffic is very evenly distributed, but most of them follow the 80-20 rule.
Yeah, cool. For this one, I think what our data shows here is, I guess we haven't got any really competitive niches kind of in here. So the niches that we kind of got listed, I think you can show in your box, are all quite standard.
So it's food, travel, pets, fashion and beauty, lifestyle, tech, gardening, health and fitness. We've got other, which is like catch-all, spiritual, sports, crafting, hobbies, and music, essentially.
Yeah. But what you find if you scroll back up, Adam, is that what we found is that actually the difference between the niches isn't too different. If you take a look at that one to get to get to 1,000, yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of like the average traffic is slightly more. So to get to let's look at this one. To get to 1,000 visitors, you literally need roughly almost the exact same pieces of content and a very similar DR rating. If we look at foods, I mean, food's a bit more competitive. You need 60 pieces of content more and a higher domain authority. And if we look at, I don't know which other ones in here have Pets, if we look at $1,000, yeah, 389. A lower DR for pets, which is interesting. So these are the kinds of insights that you might be able to pull out. Like, okay, well, if link building is not your strong point, or if you want to concentrate more on content, there might be niches out there which require a lower DR but a higher investment in content, or the other way around, for example.
Yeah. Wow, this data is amazing. This is Philip. It's very cool for sure. So Income School says 5,000 traffic per post, but it doesn't seem like that's the norm. No, certainly not.
When I saw that, I was thinking that's crazy. Like,
I mean, that said, Ahrefs under reports, right? So, we talk about under reporting 2 or 3 times. It's getting better than it has, but it used to be for sure. But I guess it's under reporting. But 500 seems too high. On this, I mean, this is why Adam's sort of mentioned it across the course of the stream, but it's pessimistic really in so many different ways. It's pessimistic in terms of Ahrefs under reporting. It's pessimistic in terms of the fact that this is just ad revenue. You can pile on any other types of revenue streams on top of that to increase the earnings. This is just the base level of what you could earn essentially through ads.
And I've got no doubt that those sites, especially in the higher brackets, the 200,000 plus, are probably not just using display ads. Like once you get to that kind of level, you can sell digital products and courses. It doesn't make sense. So I just put this, while you've got that on, I just put this question on from Phil. Can we look at spiritual? I put spiritual on there now, Phil, but just to, there's some anomalies in here. You can see that, 88,000 visits requires 504, and then you go up to the next round, 364, and that's because there's only 95 sites in the database under spiritual. So until we filled out all the niches, take this with a little bit of pinch of salt. Essentially, some of the big ones like food and travel and pets, where they got more sites, this is more accurate. But on the ones which don't have a ton of sites labeled, you're going to see those inconsistencies in terms of, because it's based on averages. So just wanted to point that out and make it clear. If you're looking at spiritual and thinking, hold on, that doesn't look quite right.
We're going to share this, over time. So and keep adding to it. So it should get better and better.
Does that mean that bigger sites are going to 500 to 1 million target mainly harder keywords that have a lot of traffic? Yeah, potentially. I mean, we haven't looked at that, but it makes sense if you've got a site which is in the DR 50, high 50s, 60s, you would be able to rank for much harder keywords. And if you are a DR 29, for example, it just makes sense. And whether that's on purpose, i.e. they've specifically gone out and targeted those high level keywords, or it's just a byproduct that they rank for them naturally because the site's a lot more authoritative. You'd like to think that at that kind of level, they're actually specifically going out and targeting those head keywords, but they might not. It could just be a byproduct.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so there's a question here, but I think it's not something that's answered in the data. But obviously, if you've got a high DR and the links aren't, I don't know why you'd end up having a load of links as a higher DR with lots of links that weren't relevant and to your niche. So obviously, that's not going to be an effective way to do link building. So you want to have contextual links for sure. We haven't looked to see if sites have a lot of contextual links, but I think by the time you're getting up to a high DR, you'd assume that they're doing something.
Yeah.
Right.
Any other questions in there?
That's it. I think this one is the answer's no. We've done it manually through Ahrefs here. You can import sites in batch, but you still got to go and find them in the first place.
Plus, you could only do 200 at a time, which was a lot of copying and pasting.
Yeah.
You could use the API. It's expensive as well. The API is.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Another thing on this side, which I think was interesting and worth looking at, is just how it's represented visually, and this is Ahrefs DR versus monthly visitors. So DRs across the bottom and visitors across the top. And while there's kind of anomalies of sites with lower DR and getting a couple of 100,000 visitors, you can see that it's mostly clustered around sites that get the most traffic have the highest DR. It's kind of just a visual representation of what you would expect. We went into this knowing that this was probably going to be the case. It's just nice to see it represented in a visual form. And then also same for number of pages versus monthly visitors. So number of pages across the bottom and monthly visitors across the top. And again, there's anomalies of pages, of websites with very small amounts of pages, 30, 40, even low as 20 pieces of content here that get tons of traffic. But most of them have the more content equals more traffic, typically on average. So yeah, again, it's just nice to view that kind of visually. I think there's a couple of other things in here just to kind of cover off as well, is what we can do with this data going forwards, which again, I'm really kind of excited about, is now that we've got this initial list of 5,000 sites, like every time there's a Google update or even every 6 months, we can go back and we can look at what's the traffic level for these websites. And then we can start looking at, were there certain niches, for example, that was hit or targeted in a Google update? Or, of the sites that dropped dramatically, can we see any common denominators from them? It's going to be a manual process of looking. And also more excitedly, of the sites that surged in traffic, like what are they doing differently? What are they doing that's caused them to increase in this Google update? We can also look at things like, of the sites that are doing extremely well in this case, like the anomaly sites, do they have a YouTube channel? Have they got a social media presence? And again, all that stuff is kind of hard work manually to go in and add, but I think it's worth us doing that. And like, this is version 1 of the data set. I think going forward, we'll be updating this and trying to add in things like, it's got a YouTube channel, or it's got a Facebook group, it's got a Instagram page, and trying again figure out, are the successful sites, are they doing more than just building an affiliate / content site? Are they trying to build a brand? Are they trying to get traffic from other sources, etc., things like that? And then the other thing we can look at is, of the niches that we've got, which ones are growing? Like, are they, even without Google updates, in the next 6 months, are all the sites that we've got in the spiritual space, for example, did they all increase in traffic? Does that mean that that space is growing? Like, when we look at those sites, are there subsets of spirituality sites that are growing because it's a new and upcoming thing? I remember looking back a little, must have been 3 years ago, about pickleball. It's like a sport, and it was just taken off in the US. And I was thinking, oh, never heard of that, but that's pretty cool. And I've done Google Trends, and it was a little bit of an uptrend. And then over the last 3 or 4 years, like, pickleball has just gone through the roof in terms of search volume and Google Trends. And ideally, we might be able to identify things like that from this data set every couple of months then.
Yeah. Pickleball is still growing.
Still growing, still going up.
Let's have a look.
Google Trends.
There's another game, but it's played, I think, more in the US, because there's not many. I looked for clubs like in the UK, it's, have you seen it on like TikTok and stuff, where people are throwing like I don't know, like little sacks into a hole, like further down, like you. Like there's
cornhole. Is that what you mean?
Cornhole, yeah. Have you
cornhole?
But I was looking at that for like in the UK, and it's just like non-existent almost in the UK.
Yeah.
But had you heard of it before or much recently?
I've only ever heard of cornhole because we played in the arcade with our little boy.
Oh, really?
An arcade game where you throw the beanbag into the hole. But I didn't realize it was competitive until recently. Like, I just thought it was an arcade thing where you just.
Yeah.
I thought it was like an amusement game.
Yeah. I did a little look on that recently to see if that was like a new upcoming thing, a bit like pickleball.
Yeah.
I think it's been around for ages in some places, but yeah.
By the way, just I mean, while we're in here, if you've never heard of this glimpse thing, it's awesome for Google Trends. Like, there's a paid version, or you get 10 free searches every 30 months, but it adds in awesome stuff. Like, usually Google Trends just tells you on an index of 0 to 100 how popular something is. This now actually adds in the search volume, so you can see in 2020 it was 187,000 searches, and now there's 652,000 searches. And usually you'd only be able to get that if you looked at Ahrefs or something. And it also adds in some related questions around like paddleball and things like that. And Spikeball. Like I've never even heard of that, but that could be something new that's upcoming. But Glimpse is free. It's like a Chrome extension, and it adds in this. Oh, maybe Spikeball isn't new. But yeah, Glimpse is awesome, by the way. Just as a side note, just in case you're ever thinking, oh, I'm in Google Trends and what's those numbers? How is he seeing that stuff?
Yeah.
I think that's it. I mean, I don't know if there's anybody else got any questions in terms of like the data stuff before I stop sharing my screen. I have to go through anything else.
Philip wants to join the team, so we get in touch on the website. Philip, I don't know what you do day to day, but yeah, get in touch. We're always looking to hire good people. So
yeah,
fruit bat cat is yeah, happy with the data too. What else? I think you're just referring to Google Trends there, Philip. With the glimpse, maybe.
Daniel's put it below. It's this Google Trends supercharged glimpse.
Yeah, glimpse. Oh, sorry. That me. Go ahead.
Nope, that's it. That's it. That one. So yeah, I think by the way, like El Coucher said, we've got 35 watching, but only 26 likes. We're not going to do the giveaway unless we get to 35. So if you've liked what we shared, go and hit like. And if you've got any other questions, just pop them in. This is like version 1 of basically the data project. Still very much in a raw format. We plan on sharing this on the website in some kind of interactive way in the new year, so you can come in and you can select your niche and you can kind of see what that maybe looks like. And then going forward every couple of months, when we update it or we make some new discoveries, we'll share it with you guys on the channel as well.
Yeah, it's a lot of work to put this together. So we earned the 35 likes for this one, I think.
I think it's an interesting question. Did you break any NDA rules for this analysis of hundreds of sites? Oh. No, we've not signed any NDAs. This is all publicly available data. Like it just takes time to go and pull this data together. It's just websites on Google, pull them together in a spreadsheet and analyze them.
Yeah, it's all in Ahrefs, isn't it? So.
Yeah. Johnny says, thanks for the data. Give us a goal to push content towards. Yeah, I think that's one of the main reasons that we see people giving up in this space as well, right? Is that they get to the certain point, they don't realize that if they just carried on going a little bit further, then success is there. Like they might, or they've got completely the wrong expectations. Like I remember I called the client once and he said, oh, I read this article where if I add 30 pieces of content, Google sees me as an expert on the site on a topic and I should be making $500 a month by the end of the first year. I was like, that doesn't right at all, actually. So just it kind of sets your expectation on levels of what you want to get there, and also means that you don't get disheartened if you are at 150 pieces of content and you're not seeing kind of that revenue that you would expect straight away. This is a long-term thing usually for most people. Most people don't have the resources to go and smash out tons of posts and do link building at the same time. And it's really disheartening once you've been through the process to see people give up when they're almost there. Really, the other byproduct of this is that gives people a goal to aim for to get to.
Oh, massively. I think it makes a big difference. Yeah. I hate it. I mean, we've gone back to some people we've spoken to in the past, right? And we've seen their sites doing well, but they stopped.
Yeah.
So you just reach out, don't stop yet. Like, why have you stopped? Carry on. Yeah.
Yeah, again, I'm not sure about this. I mean, niche site lady says 100 posts equal 5K.
Oh.
But I mean, I'll caveat that and say in that data set, there are websites with 100 posts probably making that kind of money. They're those anomaly sites, which you see like on the other end of the graph. There are them, but it's definitely not the norm. Like it's by far the norm.
And you can do it as well if you're not just doing ads as well. Like you can do it if you've got some really good affiliate deals. Then absolutely.
Yeah.
There's that is just ads that we're talking about. I don't know if niche site lady's talking about other forms of income and stuff as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess this is the other argument is Daniel says I'm stuck at a 0.1 DR just into month 8. Not going to stop, but it's disheartening sometimes. I mean, you could see it two ways. You could see it as disheartening, or you could see it as actually now you know what you need to target. Because I'm assuming, Daniel, that you might have a low DR, but if you're 8 months in, you've probably got a bulk of content. And now it could be that you need to switch your focus, and that be either outsourcing link building while you continue content, or you might need to learn a new skill, and you might think, well, I need to pivot from doing content now or exclusively content and look at link building because I know it's important based on kind of that data set. Definitely don't. That's the last thing we want to do, is to dishearten people from this, but it's also to give realistic expectations as well, I think.
Yeah.
Like, don't give up is our main message.
Yeah. Yeah, digital PR, something like that we have from one of our services, if you're to plug our services. But you're not going to improve the authority of your site until you get links. And all the time you are a lower DR, you're a target. So if anybody does competitor research to work out what you're ranking for to try and beat you in the SERPs, and they've got a bigger, higher DR than you, or higher authority than you, then they're going to beat you. You're just a target. If you're a low authority site but doing well. And that's what we target directly with our tomb raiding technique, right? So we're targeting people. We're not the only ones. Any type of competitive research, well done to you. If you've got lots of traffic from a minimum amount of content, that's great. But if you've got a low DR, people are going to come after you because they're going to spot you when they're doing their research. So you need to make sure you need to protect yourself from that. And it also helps with Google updates, right? So if you can get you can get some trust in Google by getting a few links from the BBC and Forbes and things like that, then you can hopefully ride out updates much more easily as well.
And in this case, Daniel says, that's great, but the service is a bit out of your budget right now, especially if you've got a new website. Go back and watch Jake's video last week on reactive digital PR. Like, he literally tells you how to do it. We've got another one going live this week on like creating data pieces for digital PR. I mean, that's the whole point of this channel, is that, all right, we launch a new service and we plug it, but we also tell you exactly how we run it. Like, go honestly watch Jake's video. He tells you how he's doing it. He tells you what he looks for, how he sets that up, and you can go and do it yourself. The only difference is you've got to use your own time rather than money then. So in your case, Daniel, I'd highly recommend going watching Jake's video. Watch the video on Thursday where Jake is back talking about data-driven digital PR. And yeah, go for it yourself then.
I love this one from Luke. Facts, I'm at DR 1.3 and have 320 posts, 10 months old, ready to blow up my DR. There you go. You got the roadmap now.
Yeah.
For it. You've got plenty of posts. You just authority's not there. So go for it, Luke. Hopefully, Bruce, please report back. Pump up that DR, get to where it should be, and report back. I'd love to hear how that works out.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think we're at the 35 likes now.
36. So I think we're there. So if you're interested in winning some merch, t-shirts.
Just in time. Total Therapy's asking, how do I get in the giveaway draw? Well, go Ruak. Tell us.
So type something in the chat, anything in the chat in the next 5 minutes. You have to type it in the chat in the next 5 minutes or so, else you won't be in the draw. That's just the way it works. That's how I get to copy your names out of YouTube. So type something now, and we'll do the draw in a few minutes. In the meantime, Adam. So yeah, we already said on Thursday we've got Jake again for digital PR, haven't we? What else have we got next week?
I don't.
Let me bring it up.
No, I don't know is the honest answer.
Let's have a look.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll just plug our Black Friday stuff again, because why not? It's Black Friday. It's the best time of the year if you're ever thinking about using our services. At the moment, we've got 20% more content on any order. So if you just want pure content, if you want a content subscription, if you want a done for you website or use one of our age domains, any content order between now and next week gets 20% more content. It's the best deal of the year. We never offer 20% more. And also, if you are on the fence about our digital PR service, which has been getting links in Forbes and all kinds of crazy sites, like it blows my mind. We're offering 5% discount if you sign up for monthly subscription, 7.5% if you sign up for 3 months and pay up front, and 10% discount if you sign up for 6 months and pay up front for digital PR. So yeah, head to the link in the description. There's a page there with some coupons in there, and you can grab any of those deals if you want to take advantage of that now.
Yeah, awesome. You missed a good one, Adrian. Check it out later.
Yeah.
Just here for the draw. Just here for these are the merch miners, aren't they?
Turn up for the merch.
Okay, let me just grab the names out then for this draw. All right, so for next week we've got Thursday we've got Jake talking about top tier links using data to create stories journalists love. Next Tuesday, building niche sites in 2023. So I'm going to look forward at industry trends and like what it's going to take to build a website going forward. I guess a lot has changed in 2022. And an introduction to entity building via schema is one of Adam's.
I mean, it sounds technical, but honestly, I'm really excited about that. I've set up a test, and I'll tell you all the details about the test I've set up, and I'll show you kind of how I'm approaching it. But in theory, it sounds like it should be awesome. I'm yet to see any kind of solid case study results, which is why I've set up my own test. But in theory, it sounds awesome. So yeah, that schema one is quite good. Oh, leave that up. That's great.
I didn't mean to do that one, but there you go. That was an accident. Our digital VO customer going great so far. Awesome. Can you pay for 3 months up front, but only start in January? Yes. Absolutely.
Yes, you can. Take advantage of the Black Friday. I guess you could do that with anything. You can pay up front and then kind of take advantage of it whenever you want, basically.
Yeah.
And Eleanor's watching. Tune in for the schema live stream. It's super interesting. I showed it to the team this week and showed them what I was doing and explained why. And it sounds great. They loved it. It sounds awesome. So I'm excited. It's a bit hard to wrap your head around to start with, but once you do, it's awesome, to be fair. And I'm going to try and make it as non-techy as possible.
Right, plug over. Let's do it.
Let me get some music going.
Get some music going.
Get a bit of chill going.
Oh. I can hear the music. You just disappeared. So anyway, you're here. You're back now. So let's go. Let's do the draw then.
Do the draw.
Do it. Okay, good luck, everyone.
Good luck.
Lots of names in the list today. Everyone wants the merch today.
There's a lot in it. It's more than we've had in a long time. Who's it going to be? El Caucho Lassie.
Lassie, I think.
Yep. It is Lassie.
All right. Congratulations, Lassie. If you head over to the Niche Website Builders website, which is nichewebsite.builders, hit us up in the contact form or on the chat there, and we'll get some merch sent out to you. You can have a cap, if a t-shirt, we'll get your size and color that you want, or a mug. Two-tone color mug. So two-tone color mug. That's the way I always say that. I said it as a joke now, and I always just say it out of habit, like it's a really good thing. Okay, so
one more question before we finish up. Zeus says, how many links have you got with your most successful PR campaign? And I don't know the answer off the top of my head in terms of individual kind of outreach, but I do know that there's clients that are on there. So on the different packages, we guarantee a certain number of links over a quarter, and the minimum is 9, and then it goes up in terms of the package size. Some of the campaigns that we've run so far, they've got their 3-month quota of links in the first couple of weeks. And we'll carry on pitching and outreaching. So they're going to end up with tons of links over that campaign for the quarter. So I don't know specifically on exact numbers, but I know
we haven't finished the campaign yet, right? So we only launched 2 or 3 weeks ago, and a campaign lasts 3 months. So come back in 2.5 months, and we'll be able to tell you the results of the first ones. But yeah, as Adam says, even in a couple of weeks, we're meeting the quota. The quota that we're putting on there, or the minimum number, it's a minimum number of links we guarantee that we know that we can easily achieve, but at least gives you confidence that you're going to get a certain number of links. But we know that we can easily beat that. So in general.
Actually, here's Jake. He's watching. One of our clients signed up yesterday. We built 4 already. There's 9 for the quote for the quarter for 3 months. But essentially, they've got 4, including MSN, Yahoo, and Eat This, Not That. And I'm assuming all of those are going to be from the reactive media morning stuff that Jake talked about. Especially if they only signed up yesterday, it's going to be that reactive kind of media stuff.
Yeah, so pretty decent links. That's the kind of links that we've been getting consistently for people. So I don't know how to tell more people about it, because I feel like everyone would want this, but we just need to get it out there. So spread the word, tell everyone, tell your friends, and hopefully we can get more people ranking, more people earning money, more people quitting their jobs.
Awesome.
Well,
I'm not here on Thursday, so I will see everyone next week.
Awesome.
On Thursday. So yeah, that's it for me for this week.
You already said you're going. What are you doing again? I've forgotten. You said
I'm going to go and watch Pete Tong Classics with the orchestra. Which, the orchestra bit makes it feel fancy, but it's not. Because I beat the classics at the end of the day. So.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Take some videos. We'll see it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you again we'll catch you again on Thursday for the usual Thursday stream, where Elena will do her teardowns, and we'll cover the topic that I mentioned earlier, which I've already forgotten: top tier links using data to create stories journalists love. Jake will be doing that one. So yeah, catch you again on Thursday, and Adam next week.
Cheers, everyone.